Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ellen. So you asked and I'm going to deliver. I took a poll recently of all the kind of tutorials you were possibly looking to do, and one of the highest ones was drawing in ink and wash. So today we're going to be drawing in ink and wash this cute little cottage. I have this great little new block here that I got from Fabriano, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to do a little sweet cottage on it. Really simple, step by step, beginner, intermediate, advanced levels. All the levels can do this. You add more details, more advanced you are, less details, less advanced you are, but it's really straightforward, really simple. I go over how I wash this in with the watercolor, get some little depth with the different tones here, all that kind of stuff. Leave a comment below if you love ink and wash. I know some people hate it, but not everybody loves everything, right? Not everybody loves abstracts, not everybody loves ink and wash, nobody loves certain things, all that kind of stuff. So, I want to make my channel reach all kinds of, different things that people like. Also, if you haven't hit the bell notification button, please hit the bell notification button to know my tutorial's up. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. We have a lot of fun over here. And like I said, this is such a fun, easy tutorial to do. And also check out my Patreon. I have ad-free videos, like I say, exclusive tutorials on Thursdays that are longer, more in depth, and they come with traceables or reference photos, and a live stream on the top tier once a month. The live stream is great because not too many people go on there. I don't know why, but on the live stream you can ask all kinds of questions. I go more in depth about things that you're looking for. Sometimes we ask a question and I'll draw it right there. I'll talk to you about what it is that you need, things like that. And sometimes I give you an actual reference ahead of time so that we can paint together, kind of like a Zoom kind of live thing in a way. So it's a great little tool in the top tier. And I'm going to be adding a Facebook page for my patrons so that they can showcase their paintings and everyone can critique each other and see how they're doing in their process. I thought it'd be kind of cool to add this to my community. So if you're a Patreon member, you're gonna get the Facebook page coming soon. I'll let you know when that happens. Right now I haven't set it up yet. So there you go. So without further ado, let's paint and draw the cutest little cottage. All right, so for this tutorial, let's go over supplies. I am using this Fabriano Aquarella watercolor block. This is a 5x7 block that I found that I like. 100% cotton, cold press. I have the bigger one. It's nice bright white. But isn't it cute size? Like the perfect little card size. And so it's a block, and then once you finish, you can just take it off the block. I'll be using my Sharpie fine point pen. You could use a micron pen. I would use this kind of like after you paint because it tends to bleed. You could use a fountain pen, which I have, which is waterproof, so this won't bleed. But you do have to wait a few seconds or a few minutes for it to dry before you paint on it. So for the cottage, like I said, my Patreon members, you have the traceable. But to draw the cottage, really simply, let me just show you how it's done. It's just simple rectangles and squares, right? You get the rectangle of the cottage shape going here. The trapezoid kind of shape for the roof. Coming in here, just going across. Your basic roof. And then we have a little chimney here, right? And then there's two windows and a door and another window. So the door is here, kind of comes up a lot high, right? There's a window here, and then there's two windows, just rectangles here that flank it, and then you just do the pane. So there's like a big pane here. I'm drawing it kind of fast, and then there's little panes inside. And I'll show you how I do it with the marker. Same window here, and the little panes. And then the doorway has a couple of architectural features kind of coming down. A couple like this, and then like up here on the roof. You can just imagine a doorway, right? And there's a window here, the panes here, and then there's the door, and we'll have the panes, the door here. The door, this is supposed to be a little bit wider, but the doorbell kind of here. And it comes down here at the step. But then I have a fence that goes in front of it. So just a fence, just take all these little lines. And then you have like, it could be a square fence, could be a picket fence. There's the main gate in front. And then you're just connecting underneath the little line here. And here we're going to have like a bush and just a tree here. And then with the Cape Cod house, which I'll be using, I'll show you like a triangle, but you're just going to have like the siding of the house. I'm going to marker some of that in. And then the roof, you can marker some if you want to make little bricks for the chimney. But really, it was just simple shapes. Now here, you can get real creative. You don't have to put a fence in. You could do a topiary kind of situation. It can just have bushes in front, little stairs. You can put a little walkway with some more bushes, greenery. But this is a small piece of paper that I'm not going to have much room for all that. See? So I already have mine drawn in here. Zoom in there. So from here, you just go in and fill it in. And you can freehand redraw it over again with your marker. Some areas. And this has got a tooth to it, so it's going to have this little kind of break. I'm actually breaking the line. That's another thing you can do. Another trick to make it look interesting is to have the line kind of break, not solid. Just make it a little more interesting. And just going over your pencil lines. I find that better to do that. I mean, if you want to freehand it, knock yourself out. Sometimes freehanding it can cause, you know, little happy accidents, but doing a little architecture detail for the roof line here. And then the doorway had that kind of fun architectural detail. Going down here. Now I have a fence in mind. So the fence is really tedious. Like I said, you're going to draw all these little pickets. And then underneath, connect it with that little backboard. You're going to take your time with that. But you want to go across. So it is a little tedious to draw the little fence like this. But once that's done, everything else is pretty much easy. Mine went up a little too high. Whoops, what's okay. But you know, that's expressive and who cares. And so you're just going to fill in that little back. You don't have to do the second one on the bottom because I'm just going to put in some little wiggles and squiggles to indicate like a bush in front. See, like that? It's just little squiggles. And here's the main kind of gate. And then we've got the pickets. And that one wouldn't have the grass in front of it because you have a walkway, right? And then you have the pickets again. And notice how mine are not perfect. I don't need it to be. This is just kind of like what you would do in urban sketching. If you see, you break things down to simple shapes. I talk about this all the time. Squares, rectangles, triangles. Well, let's finish this siding. I mean the detail on the house. Now, some Cape Cod type homes have dormers. This one doesn't have a dormer. It's an old cape. It's that roof that kind of goes in like that. It makes it a cape. And 1 story. There are 2-story capes. I see them all the time around here. Because I live near Cape Cod. And people love coming here in the summertime because it is beautiful with the old-fashioned cape homes and the beautiful hydrangeas around them. And so for the little panes, you can make the little teeny squares, but I'm just going to do the lines because you just go crazy. Making all those little lines. It's just supposed to be a fun little painting. And then there's an inside detail, the door, the actual door. There's the bell, a little narc here. There is a little lantern here. And then we have the innermost part of the doorway with the pane again, little windows, and then the door pane. Now you can get real detailed if you want with the door pane. You have like the typical rectangle, you can go inside again and make another rectangle so it's even more detailed. Depends on how detailed you want to get it. And again, with the bushes, just kind of do these little wiggles. And you don't have to draw the whole thing in. You see, I'm just doing a couple little doodads here. Some trees in the background if you want. Just a bunch of wiggles. It just indicates this bush kind of is over here. And then I can actually add some more architectural details in here. I don't play around with that. Now for the siding, something like this or a ruler or whatever helps you guide it much faster, because you really want it to be kind of not wood, you know, like almost not perfectly straight, but make it make sense, right? So I have a triangle. I'm going to do the first one so it doesn't look goofy. And I can break the line as I go down. And then from there, I can just kind of see if you can align a triangle alongside of paper. And then from here, you can just go really simply like this little cheat. The freehand look is actually kind of prettier, even though it's kind of wonky, but see how perfectly straight those are? Which is nice, but I like the freehand look. So once you get the first couple of lines, then you can kind of get your spacing right on all the other ones. You just need those first lines. And just go across. Now for the roof, we're not going to bother with that. It's like a shingle roof. You can draw the little shingles if you want to. I mean, you can indicate some of them, so you can just kind of go like this. Zoom in. Whoops! Oh my goodness. See how I just do little V's? Little lines, think of the shingles. If you do some over there, you should do some over here. Just to indicate the shingles. I just feel like it's not necessary to draw everything. With the siding is different. It's kind of part of the architectural detail. I feel like the shingles are just something that's really kind of annoying. So I'd like the freehand. See how I do this freehand? But if that is yours become really wonky and like really go on a diagonal, then maybe not. And that's that. Now you want to give this a few minutes if you're using even a Sharpie or even the fountain pen, because it can bleed if you go to erase it. And I just use a kneaded eraser. You can draw little flowers in here if you want and paint them in. It's up to you. It'd be kind of cute if you have little flowers there. You can put a number on the door, a name on the door. And I'll just grab this lovely kneaded eraser in a few seconds, and then we'll start just washing in color. It didn't take, how long did this take once you draw those simple shapes? Now for me, it's pretty quickly because I've been drawing for a long time. But, you know, once you get used to drawing, as I say, keep drawing in the sketchbook, then it goes a lot faster. All right, so I'm going to dry this up, and then I'm going to paint. Okay, I erased all my little marks. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. Yeah. So you can see the paint in this. I'm going to be using my Princeton 10 Aqua Elite paintbrush. Now you can decide to do a background sky or not. I think I'll do a little sky in this one. Because this house I want to make gray, leave the trim white, the roof like the gray shingle also. So let's have some color. So I've got some ultramarine blue. I'm just going to water it down so it's like a tea consistency, really loose. Going to add a little magenta over here, get some purple going at the same time. And just clean up my brush. Again, I'm going to grab that paint. You can add a little Paynes gray to it on the other end too. Okay. Now I'm just going to turn it on its side, just kind of help wash in the cottage, the sky around it. If you need to use like a masking fluid, go do that. I'm going to grab some purple. So I've got my blue going. It can be really light. I'm going to grab some more water and just make it really kind of light wash. Going in around the cute cottage. add some more blue. Just simple. I'm going to clean up that brush. Now if you fill it all in and didn't leave any white and you want to have some clouds, have a little dark. Oh, I didn't want it that dark. Gonna lift some of that color up. So you can just lift the color up. I'm gonna add a little more blue. Blue, ooh, pretty. This is a block, so you can get pretty wet. It might buckle a little bit, but it should dry down flat. So you kind of see like some spaces that are kind of white. You clean off your brush, and you do this. You do this little mopping dance. So you clean off your brush and you kind of twist and lift, twist, tap back on your paper towel, and you've got the clouds. Twist and lift. And you've got clouds. Really just cute and simple. I'm gonna fill in some of this color over here. Okay. So now we'll just get into, gonna clean off that blue. I have so much blue there. Clean up some of this blue. The house is gonna be gray and the roof is gonna be gray. So I've got Paynes gray, just the perfect color, New England kind of cottage. Just water it down. Let's see how the pass looks first. We'll do the first pass. This part is trim is white. So we're just gonna fill this in. It might get a little tedious around by the fence, but you can just kind of go in real fast. So I like this brush. It's got a good point. So you can get some tiny little areas and you can push down and get some larger areas. The belly of the brush is fantastic. So instead, we're leaving this white trim because the Cape Codders have a lot of white trim. Just gonna go in here, a little line here, and then go in here. Fill it in. Now some people don't like wine and wash, which is fine. Don't like it, you can just draw in your little cottage and paint everything without having the line. I love the line and wash. There are plenty of well-respected illustrators and watercolorists that use line and wash. They use it in different ways. They might add more depth and detail with the marker, and you can do the same. Just like how I showed you how to draw real detailed flowers with ink, it's the same situation with this kind of situation. You can more detail with the ink. So now we have our first wash of the cottage. The roof I'll make more brown. So see I added brown to this gray. It's like a brownish gray. Let's see how that goes. We could have a gray roof, gray, gray, gray. But let's just change it up. Make our cottage different. And I'm just gonna go over one simple wash. And we can add some more texture with another glaze, which means another wash of this color or a different color on top when it dries to give it the look that we're looking for. Again, we're just leaving that white trim. I'm gonna add some more gray, burnt, this is Paynes gray and this is burnt umber. Sorry I didn't mention that. But all my colors are always in the description box. And that's when you see those words that are written in the description that says show more. You click on those words, a whole box drops down and you can see everything. The brick, I wouldn't really make it necessarily red. So here's a little magenta, I'll add a little yellow. Maybe keep it more in the gray tones or a really dull kind of pinky red because it's supposed to be old house. So see, it's like this weird ugly magenta, like almost like a brown. And I'll just tap it and see how this looks. It's not so bad. Just simple. You don't want it really like bright red. That wouldn't make sense. The fence is going to be white, so now we're going to do greens around here. The doorway, we can make a color. Again, maybe like not something bright. And you want to change it up. You can make it a bright color. Whatever you feel like. So I'm going to do some greens. My greens, I always mix my cadmium yellow deep with like either peacock blue, which if you don't have that, you can have turquoise blue, ultramarine blue, and yellow make like a really kind of funky dull green because ultramarine blue has some red in it. So you want to use a bright blue to make a nice bright green. So that's why I say the peacock or turquoise. Because even cobalt is in that same kind of bluish family as the ultramarine. So you'll see here's ultramarine over here. Looks nice and bright and pretty. That's why it makes great purples. But then you go and add the yellow and look at that. It's kind of olive green. You got to play around with your colors when you're mixing greens. You should just take all the blues that you have and mix them with the yellows and see the greens that you have come up with. And then when you know to go, you can have a cheat sheet, then you'll know like which colors make sense. Now the yellow, of course, and Prussian blue, the greatest combo. Look at that, bright green also. You add more blue and you get this deeper bluish green. I always add a little burnt umber. Now it gets even darker. And I go back and do another pass of all those colors again. Kind of want to make it deep. It takes time to build that color. And there's the green, and then there's the brown. Boom. I've got the colors I need. And here we're just taking the greens and just kind of plopping them in. Kind of wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. See? And leaving some white. Just kind of loose. Now remember, it has to stop here because there's a little walkway. Well, you can have some greens kind of peeking through the walkway. Just simple. A little bright green. And you'll have some bright greens in the background too, but since they're in the background, they're going to be a little bit deeper. Get that foreground green back here. And then we got that medium green. I mixed the two Prussian with the light green. So we have like a real medium type green. And just see, I'm just wiggling the brush. Nothing, you know, mind-blowing here. Leaving a little white. And while it's damp and wet, you can go in and add even deeper green. So mixing up even darker greens. There's a little more brown in this one. Hold on. Just kind of tippy tap on the edge next to the house. Because like the house would create a shadow next to that bush. Same thing on this side. Just tippy tapping the dark on that right side, on the left side here. It's kind of flanking the house. It's kind of showing that white more. You can go in here and just tap in some nice browns, make it more interesting, or even some Prussian blue. Water this down a little bit. Just tippy tap. Tippy, tippy tap. And we can do the tippy taps on the front a little bit. Don't overdo it. You're adding another layer of green so it doesn't look like a one note type of situation. This is very wet, this section, so I'm gonna just try and tap down some of the excess and do my little tippy taps. This is dry. Interesting. And there's that dull green. So we've got our green in. We can add some really bright colored watercolor here. So for the walkway, just like a little brown, brownish gray tone. Just gonna put that in. Going like that. Simple. Simple, simple, simple. For my doorway, I'm making like an aqua kind of bluish green. So here's the peacock blue. I'm gonna add a little cobalt to that. I can just mix the green in there. I'm getting like a nice pretty turquoise, maybe a little more cobalt, a little brown. Test the colors you like on another piece of paper. See if you like that. Maybe I want more bluer. I don't know. That looks good to you. And then just put the color in. Just gonna put this kind of turquoisey kind of blue in here. Remember to kind of paint in between those white little pickets. That's where it gets a little tedious, and that's why this little tip on this brush is fantastic. You just take your time, a little therapeutic. Do that first wash, and so now we have it pretty much the first washes are in. We can get a little deeper with our brown for the roof. I always like to turn an angle, it's easier. You can just do these little tippy taps, kind of going like this. Water this down a little bit more. It's a little too thick with that paint. So then it looks like shingles. Just doing these little dash lines. You can get them a little bit bigger if you want. Space them out. You can do a couple layers of this. We have some light color on the bottom. Put another layer in here. See how I'm just going to make these little dash lines, leaving some of that light layer. And this is pretty, this should dry pretty quickly. Then you can go back in with some even darker color. And then it will have that look of a shingle. Again, doing dash. So you get the 3 types of values going in here. And you don't have to put them everywhere. So maybe you can just put like majority here, a few floating in the middle, and then more on the end. So it looks a little more natural. Just doing those little dashes. And then for the same thing with the brick, same color we had before. Again, like little dashes, and then you get that brick. Zoom in so you can see. Sorry. So we just did little dashes. Now for the house, I gotta mix up my gray here. So we've got the gray here, Paynes gray. You can see watered down like coffee tea. Another wash. It's gonna have like a little shadow going here from the overhang of the house. And then you could pretend there's some like shadows being formed on the side, like the sun is shining. It gives it a little more interest, right? So I just put it on the right side of the window and the doorway. Voila, you can do the same thing with the little picket fence. Put that darker shade of gray right in between all those little pickets. See how they pop? And you get some grays you can put on the pickets in front. And then a little bit of gray under some of these architectural details. We don't want this whole window to be like one note white. Let's put some gray in there. Same thing on here, the siding. Just make it lighter, obviously, than the dark one we had inside there. The windows, you can fill it in. There's a little trick. We can fill it in with gray, like a deep gray, and go back and we use white gouache for our little panes. That's a nice little trick. We drew them in, and now you can just use them as a guide and go back in with some gouache and get those white panes in. Or don't. Just fill it in. Doorbell here. And in the front, should have a little color. Again, I'm getting a little bit darker. Sometimes you might have to go over another pass if it dried too late. And then the greens too, you can kind of wiggle in some deeper greens just to give it more interest. It wouldn't be all this one note green. So you're wiggling that in. And the panes on the little doorway. Again, the same color, maybe mix it a little bit darker. I'm going to mix it a little bit thicker, adding that brown. And then go on the inner pane. Oh, that's a little too turquoisey bright. I want it dull a little bit. See how that works? Just fill in those little panes. The panes are a pain. Ha 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 ha. I made it funny. Put in a little green in here. Isn't that cute? Really simple. So for the little lantern, I know it's not lit up, but you can put like a little yellow in here, and then add some blackish gray color to the top. Fill it in. And then these little windows, ooh, so tiny, fill those in. Now it's getting like nice depth. So like I said, when this dries, oh, another thing, if you don't have, because it's so tiny, you don't want to paint the gouache, use a gel pen. And of course I'm going to look for my gel pen and not find it. Oh, here it is. Get a white gel pen. Let me see if this is dry. And then you can go over white gel pen. Look at that. Hello. You don't always have to make everything completely watercolor. These are the tricks that people do. The gel pens are great. I picked these cheapies up at Hobby Lobby. You can get them at Michael's, get Target, online, Amazon, you name it. gel pen. Isn't that cute? How long did that take us? 0 time. And then we're just gonna, you wanna add some bright, like, take some tube paint, like right out of the tube, like his magenta, I'm gonna mix with some yellow. Can't see it. Actually, you know what? There's this paint that I used the other day, which I really love. I think it's really pretty. This lavender. Right out of the tube. It's almost like gouache. Or if you have some gouache, use the gouache and mix it with some of your color, and it makes it opaque. So let me grab some of this beautiful color, and you just tippy tap, tippy tap, tippy tap. Little flowers in the front, and you have the sweetest little cottage. This is such a great little thing to paint, like a gift. We can frame it. It's 5x7. They have tons of 5x7 frames. Now you mix that beautiful lavender with some ultramarine, and you get a deeper purple blue. How cute is this? Definitely looks like Cape Cod now. Got Cape Cod on the mind. I got some on my mind. Very excited about having this workshop in Cape Cod. I know that everybody can't come, and I understand that. I am going to work on Zooms for people who can't come anywhere. So don't fret. Things are coming. We're almost there. Okay, I'm just adding a little deeper ultramarine blue. And actually, you can add white, just simple white gouache. But that is our cute little sweet cottage. Isn't she cute? I like her. Rectangles and squares, simple little dashes for the roof, just one little extra layer of darkness on the siding. And if you really want to get technical with the siding, you could go like under some of these lines. I would do a few. I wouldn't do a lot, just to give it some more depth with that, just a little wash, you know, just taking the tip, so then it has more interest. Some people don't like ink wash because they feel like they're juvenile, but actually no, you can get really sophisticated when you add the extra values and little details, or if you have a really kind of a cool architectural building. I'm gonna add a little wash here. It gets really interesting. This is a little bright white. And I'm gonna add a little bit of gray on the end down here. But I think it's sweet, and I like to do ink and washes because I feel like they're fun and they're kind of cool. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you like it. I hope you have fun. Take your time. You know, once you draw a bunch of this. Get used to drawing squares and shapes and filling in details. Go look at houses that you see in your neighborhood. You can add a fence, not add a fence, add a topiary, or just put flowers in the front or bushes in the front if everything just makes you like, this is too tedious for you. You know, make it different. You can add a plaque, you know, you can add flower boxes, all that good stuff. Put a little bicycle in front. I'm giving you tons of ideas. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope you like it. Give me a comment below. Please don't forget to hit the bell notification button to know my tutorial is up. And please subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, because we have a lot of fun over here. Yeah, and like I said, the patrons have the actual traceable, but I think you guys can completely draw this yourself. You're more than capable. And people tell me all the time I can't draw, and I see all the time that they can. Just try it. You have nothing to lose, right? All right, everyone. Take care. Have a great day, and I'll speak to you soon.